Hi everybody, so today we're going to talk about 6 Pakistani teen things that we should actually be talking about and why we're not actually talking about it. The first thing that I think is why people are not talking about it has got to be that it's considered taboo. Now, interestingly, why is it considered taboo? Because we are like, okay, we should be talking about this because it's a little too extreme. And so we're not going to talk about it. That's one reason why we are so little aware about these things. The second thing has got to be the common knowledge thing, which is like we or everybody around me actually knows that they know what's right and wrong for them. So we shouldn't be even talking about it in the first place. So common knowledge or common sense for all of those who think these things are literally common sense need to understand common sense is not always common knowledge because that's literally the point. Just because it's common sense or common knowledge doesn't mean people are actually doing that thing as well. So we're going to start with something very interesting, which has got to be what I call the career paradox. Now, here in this situation, it's like we have got like three choices. We either go and be a doctor, we either go and be an engineer, or we go and get into CS. Everything other than that is somehow considered a failure. Or if not a failure, at least it's considered way less good of a career as these things. Okay, now interestingly, I'll tell you about something. So 90% of the people, or more than even 90% of the people, actually they're gonna go be this, or this. I mean, at least aspire to be this, and forever regret not becoming these things as well. Okay, the important point is, so even if you're passionate about it or not passionate about it, there's always going to be competition here because that's where most of these people are, right? Okay, so you somehow enter this state called rat race. Okay, even if you don't want it. Okay, even if you're like truly passionate about becoming these things, you become a part of a rat race. And now imagine you do this not for yourself, not because you're passionate, but because you really want to gain respect or you want to be validated. And you enter the rat race for those reasons. Now, when you enter the rat race for those reasons, what do you actually expect? You're literally gonna be drained. You're literally gonna be tired. You're literally gonna be like, oh Lord, what did I do to myself? And that is the reason why you have to be very careful as to what you choose to do in your life and if you're even passionate about it or not. Okay? Because even if you're not passionate about it, okay, and you're getting into that, that's somehow going to be really detrimental for your mental health at least. And the second thing that I think a lot of people should be talking about has to be the culture versus the religion paradox. Now let me explain. The interesting thing is that just because something is culturally right, we somehow consider it religiously right as well. I'll give you a very, very niche example. For example, we have engagements in Pakistan, right? That's when, like, for example, this is a groom, this is a bride, and like they are not even still married, and they're gonna like wear rings, and then they are each other's, like, yeah, they're engaged. Okay, the important and interesting thing is religiously that's not a concept, right? Okay, but because culturally it is acceptable, it is considered right, somehow it is considered to be like the epitome of modesty. For example, if we were to consider this, we were to name it dating, for instance, like getting to know each other. Holy moly, that'll be literally like literally so insane. Okay, and that is the point. Just because something is culturally correct doesn't mean it's religiously correct. So if you're really little bit, even teeny tiny bit serious about your religion or your religious beliefs, you have to understand, you have to, you know, combat this paradox of culture versus religion. You have to be careful as to what you consider modest, what you consider immodest, what you consider normal, what you don't consider normal at all. The third thing that I think we should be talking about, it has to be relationships or situationships or whatever you want to call it, okay? The worst thing about these is that there are 17 years old people out there thinking they found the love of their life, are probably thinking that, oh my god, why can't I find people that like me for who I am? Literally, you're a 17-year-old. You're not gonna find them right now. And even if okay, we go into the scenario where you have like found the love of your life at 17-year old. Now you're like not studying, not doing anything at all. You're like spending out of 24 hours of your life, you're like sleeping for 8 hours, for instance. Then you're like out there 12 hours of begging and crying and shit. So what are you gonna do in these? You're literally gonna overthink, right? So you're literally, your entire life is gonna revolve around this. And do you want that at this young age? If that's what you want, I mean, literally go ahead. Even if you're not religious, for instance, for example, I am religious, and I'd consider that thing for to combat this thing, right? But if you're not religious, at least you should have common sense that this might not be the best decision that you are making for yourself at this young age. The fourth thing that we're going to talk about has to be goals and ambitions. See, goals are like one of the most important things in your life. They make you or they break you or whatever they literally say. The interesting thing about these is that there could be thousands of people with goals. Okay, I have goals in my mind and I have like insane ideas in my mind. If I'm not doing any of them, where am I? Like, this is this spectrum, okay? This is me having ideas. This is me when I achieve my ideas. Achieved, okay? If I'm like literally thinking about them all day, I'm literally at point zero still, okay? I have not achieved any of those things. But if I do a little bit of work every single day, somehow I reach the point. Even if I fail, at least I tried, right? So for goals, you need to have persistence, you need to have determination, you need to really work on your goals every single day, you need to keep yourself accountable for those things as well. And all of those things combined together will literally let you be successful in your life, okay? And another thing that I think we should talk about is marriage, okay? Yeah, why am I talking about it like so secretively? Because let's now for this we have three school of thoughts. The first one has got to be the liberal one, the second has got to be the conservative one, and the third that I like to call intermediary, for instance. The interesting thing is the liberal ones are like, okay, we're never getting married because it's dumb, right? And the conservative ones are, that's literally the whole purpose of life. Intermediary ones are, at one point, we're gonna get married. That's the truth. Or if we're not gonna get married, that's the truth as well, of course. But then again, we have like this situation. See, this is our entire life, okay? And this is our old age, for instance. For we spend our entire life with the wrong person. That's literally like worse than spending your life single or all alone. That's the point. Like, it's so much better to be all alone in this world than to spend your life with the wrong person. That's understandable, truly understandable. But sometimes if you find the right person and you are like, oh, well, I'm not into that shit, that's low-key, on you too. Because if you get opportunities in life, for instance, you don't just miss them, right? That's exactly the thing with people in your life as well. If there are good people that are coming into your life, you literally let them come into your life. You're not like dodging them or something. So for these school of thoughts, liberal, conservative, and intermediary, this one, intermediary, has to be best. So you have goals of your own, but you would want to either get married or not get married. Like, that's literally up to you again as well, or your preferences as well. But that's the point. But you're not too focused on it as the conservatives are. It's not like your only purpose in life. It's not like all you do is for this end goal in your mind, end game in your life, which is this, okay? And not like liberals either. You're like, okay, I'm repulsed by the idea of it. It makes me feel caged, because that's literally not what it is supposed to make you feel like. It's supposed to make you feel at peace. And if it's doing anything other than that, I think that there is something that you both are literally doing wrong. So these are the things that I think a lot of people in Pakistan, especially the teenagers, should know about, and things that we don't really talk about much. So we talked about the career paradox, we talked about culture versus religion, we talked about the relationship, situationship things, we talked about marriage, we talked about goals as well. And these are one, two, three, four, five, actually five things that I think we all Pakistanis should know about. So, hope you had a great day.